Hello, Madam Sue and my fellow beloved friends. So, for this subject PAD 215, our group will discuss management of employee misconduct based on Public Service Department JPA guidelines in Malaysia Public Service. As a group leader, I will introduce my members. We have Ariana, Nico, Ali, Mishadima, and myself, Janet Gozandria. So, I will give you Ariana to make an introduction for our video presentation. Thank you.
So, what is employee misconduct? Employee misconduct is an improper act or behavior of the employee which violates the organization rules or policies. It can affect an organization image and reputation. So, the purpose of this report is to highlight the importance of disciplines in public sector, to identify the types, causes, and effects of employee misconduct, to discuss the guidelines and legal framework, to analyze the disciplinary procedures and actions taken in the public sector, as well as to discuss the recommendation for effective strategies. First and foremost, the importance of disciplines in the public service is to ensure that employees perform their duties responsibly and with integrity. Without discipline, employees are more likely to show unprofessional behavior in the organization. This behavior can lead to poor work quality, which can affect their work performance and the organization. Secondly, poor discipline sets a bad example for others. If the employees keep making mistakes or arrive late to the workplace without receiving any consequences, other employees may think that this behavior is acceptable in the workplace, which can leave negative impact on the organization. Other employees may follow the bad example set by their colleagues. Another importance of discipline is that it ensures the employee can maintain professionalism as well as follow rules and regulations in the organization. With all the rules and regulations set by the organization, employees are more likely to maintain professionalism. Therefore, the environment in the workplace will be more productive and the employees will perform their duties responsibly in order to achieve the organization goals.
Now, I will explain the three common types of misconduct in the public services. The first type is absenteeism. So, the absenteeism refers to the employees that are absent from their work without any permission or any valid reason. This can happen because of personal problems, workplace stress, low motivation, or even irresponsible attitudes. When the employees are frequently absent, their tasks will remain unfinished, while the other employees will have to take on extra work to finish the remaining tasks. And also, public service will become more slower and less efficient. The second type is corruption and abuse of power. This happens when public servants misuse their authority for their personal benefit. Examples include accepting bribes during procurement, recruitment, licensing, or even approval processes. This is often caused by financial problems, weak ethical values, and poor monitoring. Corruption results in financial loss, unfair treatment, and also reduced public trust in government institutions. The third type is breach of confidentiality. This means revealing confidential government or citizens' information without permission. It may happen due to carelessness, lack of awareness, or even personal gain. This can lead to privacy violation, identity theft, and security risks, while also damaging public confidence in government. Next, let us look at the causes of misconduct. The first cause is lack of integrity and ethical values. When employees do not have strong moral principles, they may put their personal interests ahead of their responsibilities. This can increase the risk of corruption, abuse of power, and dishonest behavior, which can harm the reputation of government institutions. The second cause is weak supervision and organizational control. If there is poor supervision and ineffective internal controls, employees may feel that misconduct will not be detected or even punished. As a result, unethical behavior such as corruption and abuse of power becomes more likely. Let's discuss the effects of misconduct. The first effect is disciplinary action and also career consequences. So, employees who commit misconduct will receive warnings, fines, salary reductions, suspensions, or even dismissal. In serious cases such as corruption, they may face court persecution, imprisonment, and financial penalties. Therefore, misconduct also damages a person's professional reputation and future career opportunities. The second effect is loss of public trust and also negative impacts towards the society. Misconduct can reduce public confidence in government institutions and makes people less willing to cooperate with government policies and programs. It will also affect the quality and efficiency of public service delivery. In addition, the misuse of public funds can slow down the development of important sectors such as infrastructure, education, and healthcare. In conclusion, misconduct not only affects individual employees but also weakens public trust and the overall effectiveness of government services.
Hi, so my point is I will talk about JPA guidelines and legal frameworks. For your information, the Malaysian Public Service relies on a various guidelines and regulation or legal framework issued by Jabatan Penghormatan Awam Malaysia (JPA) to manage employee misconduct. These frameworks establish standards of conduct, disciplinary procedure, ethical integrity, and accountability and professionalism among public servants. So in our report, I'll pick three types of JPA guidelines and legal framework. First of all, Public Officer Conduct and Discipline Regulation 1993. Second, Asset Declaration Guidelines, which is known as Pengisytiharaan Harta. And the third is Guidelines on Managing Disciplinary Proceeding in the Public Service, which is in Malay, it is Pengurusan Tindakan Tata Tertib Penghormatan Awam. So my first JPA guidelines and legal framework, which is the Public Officer Conduct and Discipline Regulation 1993, that serves as the primary legal framework governing the conduct and disciplinary management of public officers in Malaysia. One of the key aspects of regulation is the establishment of expected standard of conduct for the public officer. For example, officers are required to be loyal to the king, the country, and the government will carry out their duties responsibly and efficiently. So my second point is the Asset Declaration Guidelines, which is Pengisytiharaan Harta. This guidelines is another important mechanism used in the Malaysian public service to promote transparency, accountability, and integrity among public officers. Under this guideline, public servants are required to declare their assets and liabilities periodically to their respective authorities. The purpose of this guideline is to ensure that public officials do not accumulate wealth through unlawful means in activities that may lead to conflict of interest. So, my last point is guidelines on managing disciplinary proceeding in the public service, or known as Pengurusan Tindakan Tata Tertib Penghormatan Awam. These guidelines provide a systematic framework for handling misconduct cases involving public officers in Malaysia. Issued to support the implementation of disciplinary regulation, this guideline ensure that disciplinary action are conducted fairly with established legal procedure. The guidelines aim to maintain disciplines within the public service while protecting the rights of employees throughout the disciplinary process.
So here is the disciplinary procedures. So for the first one is classification of disciplinary proceedings. So the disciplinary authority plays an important role in determining the severity of misconduct. So under the regulations, cases are split into two categories. So for the first one is Regulation 36, which is proceedings not with a view to dismissal or reduction in rank. And the second one is Regulation 37, which is proceedings with a view to dismissal or reduction in rank. And the next is right of appeal. So if an employee is satisfied with the decision of the disciplinary board made, he or she has the right to appeal under the regulations. So they are supposed to submit their writing through the head of department within 30 days time frame of receiving the punishment notice. So the appeal will be reviewed by disciplinary appeal board. So the third procedure is step-by-step disciplinary process. So the first one is receipt of report, where the head of department will receive a report, official complaint, or identifies a misconduct such as absence report or bribery. And the second one is preliminary investigation, which means an investigative committee may be formed to gather all the evidence, official documents, and witness statements to ensure a fair and impartial process or to confirm whether misconduct took place. So the third process is issuing a show cause letter. So if a prima facie case exists, the PBTT will issue a formal show cause letter to the officer. And the fourth one is evaluating the employee's response, which means the employee must reply in writing explaining their side of the story. And the last step is decision and communication. So in the end, the disciplinary board reviews the employee's defense against the evidence gathered. So next is actions. So there are 7 actions if the employee misconduct. So for the first one is warning. So they need to write a formal written warning issue. And the second one is fine. So a monetary penalty will be deducted from the employee's salary. And the third one is forfeiture of emoluments, which means they will lose part or all their salary and allowances for a specified period. And the fourth one is deferment of salary movement, which means annual salary increment is postponed. The fifth one is reduction of salary. So if an employee misconduct, their salary will be reduced to lower rate. And the sixth, reduction in rank. So they are demoted to a lower grade with reduced responsibilities and salary. And the last one is dismissal, which means the employee is permanently removed from the public service.
Now we have reached the recommendation part. So, firstly, we can enhance enforcement and monitoring by strengthening the internal and external audit system. This should involve the integrity unit for monitoring, and we should ensure online evaluation systems are only accessible to the authorized officer, which are the integrity unit. Other than that, we should establish rehabilitation system. This will be introduced to those who are guilty. With this program, we can encourage them to do self-reflection and also improve their own behavior. This program will focus on correcting their own misconduct rather than we just do the ordinary bureaucracy part, which will be transferring their position or their station. Lastly, we can improve disciplinary and reporting system. We can do it by establish a dedicated disciplinary board, which will including the integrity unit and also professional psychologists. They will be the one that responsible to review the case fairly and also execute a proper penalties for those who are guilty. This can ensure accountability followed by justice to be respected among the public servants. Finally, we have reached the conclusion. Although the Public Service Department has established guidelines and disciplinary frameworks, unfortunately, these measures alone are insufficient if they are not consistently enforced. A stronger implementation, continuous monitoring, and transparency are significant in order to ensure accountability to be a priority, especially in the government sector. There's a saying goes, integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Thank you.
So this is the end of our presentation, and I hope everyone will understand what we discussed about. So see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.